Hello, everyone. I'm Hollywood. Welcome to Hollywood Behind the Mask. I'm coming to you live from the Talk of Las Vegas, KLAV 1230 AM, and streaming on KLAV1230am.com. Call in and chat with us at 702-731-866, 820-5528. That's again 702-731-1230, or the toll-free for all of you out of state, 866-820-5528. I want to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas and many warm wishes and blessings to all the men and women listening in through the Armed Forces Radio Network. I can't believe it's already the 24th and 25th right around the corner. Can you? This year by in a flash. Are you ready for Christmas, Ryan?
I feel like I'm barely ready for it, but I'm just managing.
I forgot it was coming. I hope that 2014 brings lots of new and great experiences in all our lives, but we still have 10 more days to make the most of 2013, so let's send it off this year with positive thoughts, gratitude, and renewed strength within ourselves. I wanted to let you know there's also only 3 more days, folks, to donate those blankets for the homeless and homeless veterans. Again, a very big thank you to Robert Kessler of Perfect Climate Systems, Off the Strip Restaurant Bar on Tropicana, Killerman Sons MC, Craig Boyle of Bonanza Beverage Company, Jesse Coloca of Microdot, Humana Guidance Centers in Summerlin and Henderson, Diva Studio and Hair Salon in Henderson, Finley Toyota of Henderson, KLAV, and every single one of you in the community of Las Vegas that donated your blankets in support of the blanket drive for our homeless and our homeless veterans. You have no idea how much your help is appreciated. Thank you. And I'm very excited. We have a really great guest here tonight, and I have a nice surprise for you too. And those of you who've been following on Facebook know what's up. So I want to introduce tonight we're going to be going from music to politics. And my guest tonight has been in the music industry since a very young age when he was performing, and he became a national concert promoter, followed by becoming a major record company executive. He's been around numerous celebrities and performers throughout his career, and from there he decided to get into politics, becoming a political consultant and publicist, working with major candidates, politicians. He's the CEO and founder of Endeavor Media Group, which works with individuals and major companies covering a wide realm of industries. They have an extensive involvement with clients in the fields of A&E, politics, and sports. This man is quite a man. He definitely gives meaning to diversity, hard work, and going after what you want. Please welcome Andre Haynes. Hello, Andre.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's such an honor and a privilege.
You're welcome. We have another special little guest in here, too.
You sure do. My little mini-me. This is the first radio interview he's ever done with Daddy. So.
Hi, mini-me. Hi. He's my little assistant tonight.
Yep.
So, Andre, you've got such an incredible life and such a transition. I want to talk to you. Two completely different industries. How are they similar?
You know what they are, because both of the industries deal with people, and they tend to influence culture and subculture. For example, in the music industry, it influences everything from fashion to cars to homes to traveling. And when you look at politics, for example, it influences the laws that, gauge and govern our very lives. Everything from a speeding ticket to the taxes assessed on the property that you own, all the way down to going to court for a divorce or custody of children, or if you're, involved in a business dispute. But politics and music both deal with people. They both deal with influence, and elected officials have as much influence, if not more, than people who are involved in the music industry.
So they're influentially similar, you would say?
Yes, they are.
Two completely dynamically different industries. What aspect of the entertainment business do you love most?
You know what? My favorite is promoting concerts. I love that. I get such a rush and a high from the music. When the audience is excited, it's they get excited. It's contagious. You can feel it. Whether it be country, hip hop, gospel, jazz, genre doesn't matter, but I love it. It's fun.
That's right. You've promoted just about everything there is. What are all the? You've done country too.
Yep. You know what? And today I set records in that. I'm still the first African American ever to promote A-list country acts in the world.
Tell us some of the people you've worked with, country music.
Clint Black, Andy Griggs, Brooks and Dunn, Shania, Tim McGraw, Faith Hills, Mark Wills, Toby Keith, Keith Urban. The list goes on.
Is that all? They're kind of small, just starting off, aren't they? And what about all that being on the road? How does this?
It's fun. I love it. You
like that?
Yeah, I love it. It's fun.
Living out in a suitcase.
Yeah, because you know what? Every city you go to, it's a different vibe. It's a different style. People dress different. They talk different, and it's just fun. Integrating and seeing how people live their lives. And then you have to remember, when you're the concert promoter, a lot of times people treat you like the celebrity because you work with them. So everywhere you go, it's VIP. The restaurants, if you want to go party. So it's cool. It's a different experience that, most people don't get. But I love it.
And you said you once traveled at least 7,000 miles in less than 2 months on the road. I
sure did. I was on the road with Destiny's Child, the original one, Jagged Edge, John B. And we had about 3 or 4 other groups on that tour. But we did a lot of stops here in Vegas. We did about 3 in Arizona, California, Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama. We averaged like 8,000 seater venues.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of traveling. That's you got to be built for it.
Oh yeah.
And what are some of your other experiences working in the business? When you work with different genres of music, obviously it's going to be different attitudes.
Right.
Artists.
You know what? Like for example, country was very different. I remember the first time I went to Nashville. I went during a fanfare, and I spent a few weeks out there. And out there in Nashville, the country singers, they like to golf and they like to fish. So I hung out with Aaron Tippin and I can't remember the other people, but I hung out with a few people there, and that's what they like to do. Versus you go to New York or L.A. and I'm with the rappers, and they like to go to the strip clubs or they want to be in the studio. So it changes very fast.
Very different. Again, that dynamic thing going on. And what was your nickname when you were in the business?
It was AC Money, and it is an acronym for All Cash Money.
All Cash Money. That's the baller shot caller.
That's right. Baller shot caller entertainment.
Didn't you have that?
Yep.
Yeah. And how did you get involved in the music business? What led you into it? Were you from a musical family, or?
You know what? My everybody in the family was able to sing except me. I couldn't sing for anything. So at age 12, I started rapping. And by age 14 in LA, I was rapping, and it was called the Hip Hop Olympics. And also I rapped in the underground music scene with a lot of big people who became big stars later on. And then I got in a band and playing percussion. What
was it like being in that era in the underground rap scene and the Hip Hop Olympics? Was that different from the way it would be now?
Not much.
No.
It's probably similar today. It was cool though. The best thing in life is to be next to someone or to be part of something that's going to make history and that's going to shape culture and change the world. And when you can be in a recording studio or you could be at a nightclub or wherever you are and you hear the song first, and then 8 weeks later it's a huge smash on radio, or every nightclub is playing a song, you know what I mean? Or you're going to these venues and it's being requested. It's cool when you can say, yo, I heard that being cut. I was there. I was
right. Part of it.
Right.
Yeah. And how did you grow up? You were born in L.A., you said.
Right. I was born in L.A., and at a young age I moved to Pomona, and then I moved to Diamond Bar. So I went from
Diamond Bar.
Yeah, so I went from living in the hood with all the minorities, and then when I moved to Diamond Bar, it's predominantly white. So I went from the hood to
huge change.
suburban.
What was your environment like?
Well, you know what? In LA and Pomona, the gangs, the drugs, the different elements. And then when I moved to Diamond Bar, there were drugs, designer drugs, because they have
designer
money,
drugs for the wealthy.
But it was a lot more racism. So and it's cool because that taught me how to deal with people, which helped me later on in life because I work with a lot of different nationalities and people on different income levels. Now,
you were how old when you started in the business?
About 12, and I actually had my first incorporated company at 15.
Wow, 15, that's young. How did you go about doing that?
What do you mean, forming it? Well, I set up a corporation, and what I did with that company was artist development. I helped a lot of people get record deals, record their demo, help them prepare packages to send to radio and things of that nature.
At age 15?
Yeah, age 15.
Wow. That's that. Now, did your parents have an influence in your music? You said your family was musical?
Especially my mom did in the very beginning, because my roots, I grew up in the church. So when I started promoting hardcore hip hop and doing that on the label, of course, I got a little bit of resistance from mom.
Oh, what did they have to say about that?
She didn't like that. Well, son, why can't you do gospel or this or that? So finally, years later in my late 20s, I finally, with one label, put out a gospel record. And I'm like, here you go, Mom. I don't want to hear anything else. There you go. There.
And what was that called?
That was actually Holy Boy. Oh, I can't remember the name of the album. I think we sold about 200,000 or 300,000 units, which, per the industry, it's a failure. Not necessarily in gospel. If you do 100,000 or more, you're good. But it's a value of almost about $4 million gross. So I think it was a success for my first gospel.
But your mother was happy.
My mom was happy. That's priceless.
I bet she's very proud of you today, too. And what about your dad? Now, your dad had something to do with a turning point in your life.
Right. You know what? I saw my dad work his behind off. I saw his commitment, his dedication, his confidence, his self-initiative. And although I'm a mama's boy, I'm a daddy's boy. So the reason I became an entrepreneur and a business owner, I wanted to please my dad, and I didn't want him to feel like his efforts raising and loving me weren't vain. So that's what initially gave me my drive, because I saw him do it.
Now, we were talking, and you said that he invested in a lot of business startups.
Right, he did, and actually that's how I started working with the first record company, Persona Records, here in Vegas. He'd invested in that label. And so in short, he told me, go watch his money. So I started off working there as a receptionist, and I worked my way to be the head of marketing. So I was able to learn the music business from the label side. And before I had that experience, I learned it from the consumer side and from the artist side.
So you were getting all your bases covered,
right?
And
I was
preparing
getting
for you move up the ladder,
all the ducks in a row.
Now, did you know you were gonna keep going, or at that point, or
I did not. I just went with it though. Yeah, I just went with it. It happened so fast, and it was such a rush. And I mean, you're 18, 19 years old. Who doesn't love television? Who doesn't love music or partying or dancing? I mean, now you look at the socialites we have, like the Kardashians and Paris Hilton. People love entertainment.
They do. And so you have to give them good entertainment, though. I believe.
Right.
I believe the quality of entertainment is important.
It sure is.
So who are some of the people you worked with so young when you were a teenager? You started?
A few of the Death Row artists, some artists on Bad Boy. A lot of your East Coast guys like Wu-Tang, the Def Jam artists. Did a lot with gospel artists, Helen Baylor and other people. In one capacity or another, either as like a songwriter, helping them from a label aspect to promote their song to radio, because there's so many nuances, there's so many different things that are involved with promoting music, and I've done all of it. So normally in one capacity or another, I'd work with different artists.
Which did you like best?
You know what? I like being in the studio. You
liked being in the studio? You liked recording?
I love that. Yep, because here's why. An artist can get a song the day of or a week or two before they step into the booth. They write one thing, they perform it one way in their head, and then you get there, your friends are there or whoever, and there's an energy and a vibe, and you go a total different direction and record something totally different. You could go freestyle off the head, or ad lib, what a lot of people call it, and you end up making this cool new product. And then you have post production, which is where your manager, producer could come in and say, okay, let's add these vocals, let's add this, change that, speed it up here, tweak that, and it could change the song again.
It takes its own form.
It sure does.
It's nothing that you planned. It's what you felt when you were in the studio.
It's magical. It's in the moment. You know what? It's a high.
It's passion.
It's a natural high. That's the best way I could describe it.
Now, when you were 17, you were telling me a story. Something happened, and it had to do with your father's label. Tell us that story. It was a lesson you learned in life.
You know what? At that time, I was performing as a rapper, and I was traveling around nationally doing shows. And on the label that my father invested in, that he wanted, he put me there to help watch his money and learn the business and run it. I was in Hollywood with one of the groups on the label, and they were going to perform. They were opening up for LL Cool J, and they had a song that had a rap verse in it. And the original guy who recorded it was out of town, so they're like, Dre, do the rap part. I'm like, okay, cool. So we're at some hotel in Hollywood. We're rehearsing it. The rap part comes up. It's all of us. I jump in to do it. I sucked. I bombed. I had no energy, no passion, no confidence. I was too cool for my own good. And they're like, yo, man, we like you, but you can't do it. So they immediately grabbed another guy who did backup for a lot of big-time rappers. And he did it, and I was able to watch him that night, and it taught me that as far as performing, you have to have showmanship. You have to be able to connect with the audience. You've got to have the volume and the energy. So it hurt my feelings, but it was the best lesson I could have ever had. Now,
you were saying it takes a certain something, and as you put it, to be a diamond-selling artist.
You know what? Yes.
What is it you feel it takes?
Well, you know what? The most important thing, you have to be able to take constructive criticism. If a radio program director says this is not what the people are listening to, or your song is sounds like it was done 10 years ago, you've got to be willing to go back in the studio and to change that. You can't take it personal and get your feelings all hurt.
No, you have to have thick skin, same as the entertainment industry.
Right. And the same with the label, or if you're bringing on board a guest singer on your song and they say, I don't like this, change this or change your look, you've got to be willing to do that. You can't get all defensive, get all mad, especially if you're privileged enough to deal with the people who have a successful track record.
What do you find? Do you find the game has changed in the industry?
Oh, yes, it has. Now these artists, they put on these personas like they're bigger than God and like they call the shots, when really they don't. The people that call the shots are the labels and the media. The artists are just employees. That's just the honest to God truth.
No, we were talking about even what they make. It's
right, even the money.
I
mean, for example, you take a record, and your average artist is only going to get 10 cents per unit. The label's taking 70 or 80, and the rest is going to the producer and the writer. And the artist always gets paid last. As a label, you're going to recoup all your money first, so you might have to sell, for example, 200,000 units before you get your ROI. Then the artist gets paid, and that's if you don't have to recoup money from touring, merchandise, marketing, and all these other expenses that you have.
Yet it all looks so glamorous when you sit there and you watch the music videos and you see the artists and you think they have this great life, and half of them are filing bankruptcy.
Right, they're broke.
Or they've been cheated by their managers.
Like like you hear people say sometimes in their songs, they'll say that the cars and the mansions, it's all rented, and that's the truth. And end of the day, they're broke. I remember years ago, talking to Nas and some people, and he was recording one of his albums, and he was unhappy because the album they're in the red. And whatever money he made was going to come from tour support, which that's touring and publishing. Those are the two largest areas that artists make their income.
What do you think will change that game and give the artist more control? Or what do you think does nowadays?
Two things. One, the artist has to be their label, or B, they have to do what's called a label-to-label deal versus someone signing them as an artist, which means they invest all the money into developing, branding, marketing, promoting you, because now you're giving
controlling.
Right. So as an artist, you got to find a way to fund yourself. Everything from your hair, your makeup, your outfits, your studio recording time, your traveling. You got to have a booking agent. You got to have a publicist. And that's coming out of your pocket. And you have to build that brand, and you have to develop a following so that now a label says, hey, you know what? Andre has a committed fan base of 300,000 people. We know we could sell to at least 30,000 at $10 a pop. That's $300,000. We don't mind putting $100,000 behind them because we'll triple our money.
So therefore the artist has more control. Exactly. Now, you knew Tupac.
Yeah, you know what? I knew him and the Outlaws, a few other people, and it was tragic. Years ago when he passed away by getting shot, I was actually with the entourage and all the people that night at the fight, and probably the next month after that, that's when I started doing country music because I was tired of the violence. The whole East Coast West Coast thing.
Yes,
I lost a lot of people in that.
What did you feel about that?
You know, it was unnecessary.
What was it like being involved, like around all of it? Not involved, but around it, knowing people.
It felt like the streets. It didn't feel like the music business, but it felt like the streets and a lot of egos and personalities that were out of check and just kind of going crazy. And a lot of people hyping it up, making it bigger than what it was.
Now, how did you avoid getting into the not getting involved in substance abuse or anything like that? I know there's a lot of that goes on in the industry,
right? Well,
too, especially being in music and.
One thing I did. One of the guys, he's a senior deacon at my church. I brought him on board as my assistant. I hired him. He kept me in check. I stayed super close to my parents and my sister because they did not let my ego get too big. And I kept people around me who actually cared about me and loved me enough to tell me the truth and pull my shirt collar. And I stayed away from certain situations.
So, Andre, you don't drink?
No, I do not. You know, I'm a control freak.
You've always been never done drugs, nothing.
No, I haven't. And also too, growing up at a very
in the music business.
Yeah, growing up at a very young age, I saw it destroy lives of some people very close to me. I saw marriages end. I saw people end up dead. You know, I saw people go to jail, and it implanted a picture inside of me where I said I never want that to happen to me, and I associated it with the drugs and the alcohol. So it's something I never touched.
Now, tell me, what was, I'm going to ask you a couple of more things here. What was one of your worst moments you ever had? And,
you know what? I was in Vail, Colorado, promoting this show with DJ Cool. And we were both on the mic and stuff like that. And I gave the audience a command to do something obscene and vulgar. And I was joking. I didn't think they would do it. And a lot of them did, and I felt bad and embarrassed.
So you led a bunch of unsober people
off the cliff. You know, I sure did.
Off the cliff. And how did you feel about it afterwards? What did you do?
You know what? I felt horrible, and I realized that even though I'm not a star or a music artist, it doesn't matter. When you have the microphone in your hand, you have influence. Somebody's going to do what you say do. Somebody's going to mimic you. And you know, you're responsible for that.
That's the old saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's the truth.
And what was one of your best moments?
My best moments.
Yeah, great. Tell me a story about your great moment that you had.
Ooh, let me pick one. Hold on. Let me go through my head. Let me pick one. You know what? I think one of my favorite moments is I was able to do something special for an air personality who was going through a hard time in marriage. I brought he and his wife to a show I did and took care of their room and the meals. And long story short, it saved his marriage because his marriage was on the rocks, you know. And later on, unbeknownst to me, he ended up owning that radio station. So he repaid the favor to me and gave me a lot of free advertising.
So he paid it forward. So you actually did what we call a rake, random acts of kindness everywhere. That's how I started the whole blanket thing. It was created by the comedian Ricky Smith. But so you did a good thing, and then he paid it back years later.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You know, and it's and it's cool because no matter what a person does in life, when you're able to positively impact someone else's life, and not because you have ulterior motives or you want to get patted on the back, that's priceless. That's what makes it worth it.
Now you're still handling people, right, in the music business. And speaking of music, you have an artist who's got a new song out. Her name is Gina Cotillo.
Right, Gina, right, yep. I just started working with her. I met her a few months ago, and what I'm doing with her is helping manage her radio campaign. We're getting her, her song on radio stations and getting her interviews. She's wonderful. She's great,
Yeah, she's from New York.
Yep, she's released quite a few projects. She's had a lot of success. You could hear her songs on like Nickelodeon and Oprah and all these different places. My favorite thing about her, other than being a super performer, she gets it from the business side. She talks the same language. So I'm able to have an educated conversation with her that I cannot have with most talent or artists that I work with. So it's a treat for me.
Well, I had the pleasure of speaking with her, and she is lovely. And right now, we have the debut single for all of you out there to listen to. It's the first time airing in Las Vegas, right here on Hollywood Behind the Mask at KLAV 1230 AM. And the song is called In Time by Gina Cotillo. So enjoy.
I can see me in the dark when you breathe. So clearly you come to me. Honestly, it's only a dream. This time won't be like when we first let go. It's time you promised me. Oh, I want more. We can be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. We will be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. So close, but yet so far. It seemed you and me were just friends. So here we bring love on false premises. This time won't be like when we first let go. It's time you promised me. Oh, I want more. We can be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. We will be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. Hey, 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 your love, your love. We can be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. Will you falling into me? Ooh, yeah, you fall in love. Will you falling into me? Ooh, yeah, you fall in love. We'll find love. We'll find love. We'll find love. We'll find love. We can be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. We will be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. Hey, 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 your love, your love. We can be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. We can be one. We can be one. We can be one, and we will in time, and we will in time. Your love, your love. Your
Hi, I'm Hollywood from Behind the Mask at KLEV 12:30 a.m. Join us in the blanket drive in support of our homeless and homeless veterans. Come have some fun. Off the Strip Restaurant Bar on Tropicana is offering Bring in a Blanket, Get a Free Drink. This is supported by Robert Kessler of Perfect Climate Systems, Killer Man Sons MC. We also have another participant, Craig Boyle of Bonanza Beverage Company, and Jesse, the lead singer and bassist of the group Microdot, already collecting blankets for us. You can help by dropping off new blankets at any of these locations, and also here at KLEV on Sahara and Rainbow, at the Humana Guidance Center locations in Summerlin and in Henderson, at Finley Toyota on Eastgate Road in Henderson, at Diva Studios in Henderson on Eastern. Show you care, and let's support our homeless veterans. And don't forget to listen in to Hollywood Behind the Mask every Saturday night between 10 and 11 p.m. on the Talk of Las Vegas, KLEV 12:30 a.m. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Support our veterans. Bring in a blanket. This is Hollywood. Over and out. This is Hollywood Behind the Mask, and we are back here live on KLEV 12:30 a.m. And I have a surprise for you guys. I have Gina Cotillo on the phone, whose song In Time you just heard it its entirety. First time airing here in Las Vegas. And Gina's on the phone. She stayed up, and it's East Coast time over there. Hi, Gina.
Hey, what's going on?
We're good. How are you? Thank you for staying up.
No problem. I just put myself into work, so I said, you know what? I'll just stay up and record some music, and that could take me till tomorrow.
So you'll be up all night now.
Yes, thank you.
You'll be on Vegas time. You're welcome. So you're over what part of New York?
I'm over near New York City. I'm about 45 minutes outside of New York on Long Island.
Nice.
I get the best of both worlds. I get the beaches, I get the Hamptons, and then I can shoot straight over into the city. So I've always loved being on Long Island.
Well, we loved your song. It's beautiful. Tell us a little bit about In Time and what does it mean?
Wow, it sounded awesome too. I listened to I've been listening since 1 a.m. So you guys sound like you're having fun, and it was very interesting. Andre, very interesting guy. I didn't know all of that.
Oh, he is.
Him, so it was
he is.
Really, really cool.
I love peeling the layers of his mask.
Yeah, I see that. It's very good.
You're missing
very
a
good
great.
At it too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're missing a great in studio Las Vegas party. You know how the West Coast does it.
Well, listen, if Hollywood had said, "Look, jump on a plane, we'll have you here," I would have been there in a second.
You see. Okay, we'll have to get the plane next time, Andre.
Next time. So, In Time, it's very interesting. It's pretty much a conversation to an ex-lover that at some point these two people will be back together again. So, these promises that were made will happen in time.
I can relate to that.
Yes,
I want to hear more now. Where's the rest of the album?
It's coming. I'm actually recording right now, and it's a funny story with me and Andre working together on this the campaign here. He called me one day, and I'm like, "Oh, I got to take this," but I'm in the middle of writing, and this is the thing. I'm recording and writing the new album right now. So I answered, and I said, "Can you call me? I'm going to call you back in like 10 minutes. I'm just in the middle of like putting down something for a song." It's like he totally understood. And not a lot of people do understand it, I guess, because he's an artist too. He gets like when you're writing, that's it. So hopefully by March we will be, if not sooner.
All right, so we'll be looking out for what you haven't titled it yet, have you?
No, not yet. For me, when I'm writing, I need to kind of encompass all of the songs for the most part, and then I start to, as the end comes, I start to think of, I start coming up with, okay, what is this whole album encompassing? Like my last album, The Lover. The Lover was pretty much an altered ego of me, and every song had something to do with this desire of want and love, and so then that's how I knew. I'm like, wow, this is The Lover, So I have to wait a couple of more songs in, and then I should have a title.
I like the way you think and the themes of your music so far. What are you've had other albums out too, and you've worked with a lot of artists. Who are some of the artists you've worked with? You've been on the road a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I have 3 albums out. I did 2 EPs in between this album coming out and the Lover. So pretty much when I recorded From Here to Desire, I was on NBC. Things started to really kick off, and then we went on tour with Katy Perry and Cobra Starship, Jack's Mannequin, Paramore, Gym Class Heroes, all on Warped Tour. Now, being around that type of energy, it was phenomenal, and we got to tour across country with these people, and they took us in. Like, we were that unknown band that was given this chance, and everyone was like, you need to go check out Gina Cotillo. You need to see, like, Katy Perry's guitarist. This is when Katy Perry's song, I Kiss the Girl, just started blowing up. And the guitarist, who I became close friends with, told her, he's like, you go watch it, because Katy was ultimately a studio baby, not done a lot of performing. Now she just is amazing watching her perform. I have footage of her from Warped Tour where you're like, wow, is this the same person? And he told her, go check out Gina Cotillo, because I've always been performing. I was on stage with Prince at one point. I got pulled up on stage in front of 20,000 people with Beyonce and Jay-Z in the audience. And Prince, and I'll never forget the bodyguard saying, don't touch Prince, don't go near Prince.
I remember that. I've heard that.
I went up there, did my thing. He came over to me and gives me a high five because he saw how hard I was working, and his guitarists and stuff were like, yo, who are you? And So, but back to Warped Tour, being around those artists, it just, inspired me. And I said, I really want to start infusing more electronic dance music into my stuff. So my roots are the pop rock sound, and I play guitar, I can play drums, I do keyboard. And then I started watching like Katy Perry and Cobra Starship and even Paramore. I'm like, wow, look at all these electronic things they're infusing. And that's where The Lover came from. I started playing some of the songs that would be on The Lover. And it's funny, if you see footage of Warped Tour, you'll hear a couple of the songs from The Lover and you're like, wow, it's more like grassroots sounding. I got home.
How did you learn to play so many instruments? Did you go to school? Did you learn yourself?
I'm not theory taught at all. It started with singing. My mother was a professional singer. Then she kind of gave that up to raise 5 children. I'm assuming you can't be in the music business and have 5 children. So at least not
a little hard when you're on the road.
Yeah. So I've been singing since I was like 4 years old. And it's funny because she never really, back in the day with Motown and all that kind of stuff, you're not a writer back in the day. You just sing it. When I told her, Mom, I want to learn guitar. At first she was like, what? No, you sing. What do you mean learn guitar? I said, well, I want to write my own music. And then I just started doing it. And I bought myself a guitar at a garage sale, no joke, $50, and started teaching myself. I have no idea what I'm playing. Like, it's funny. I walk in with my producer, and I'll give him full-on demos of the songs. And he's like, all right, so what key are we in, hon? I'm like, I have no idea. Figure it out.
I just did it. You're definitely a natural and a one-woman artist at that, a one-woman show.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I do have a band that I play with. So, and I do have to give a little props to my guy, Ron Labriola. He has been with me from day one. Like, I became, quote-unquote, because I was in a band situation, and then I became Gina Cotillo, and he auditioned, and I have to say he's been there with me since the beginning. So,
and what's his name again?
Ron Labriola.
Hi, Ron. This is Hollywood
Ron.
Saying hello. Well, Gina, tell us where people can find you and where they can look up your music and follow what you're doing and your career.
Anything you want. I'm on all social media.
Well, start shouting them out.
Gina Cotillo. So, YouTube, Gina Cotillo, Reverb Nation. You just put Gina Cotillo, and then I have GinaCotillo.com. So, I'm on Twitter, Facebook. Just put it in the main social media and the hashtag, /
And it's Gina, Gina, Cotillo, which
Cuttillo.
Cuttillo. Well, thank you, Gina. We're so happy to be able to play your song and to talk to you. And this is a very exciting moment in your career. And I wish you all the best and much success. I'm going to definitely be following your music and keeping up with you. And also look forward to hearing a lot more music and hearing back from you again.
Awesome. Thank you. And and everyone get on iTunes. The song's there, download it. All my stuff is on iTunes and every media outlet. So,
well, I've already sent it out to all my Facebook friends, so they're following you.
Yes, I said, like I told you that when we were on the phone. I'm like, well, I woke up in the morning. I'm just like, wow, that's like an influx of people loving my Facebook page and on my Twitter. And I'm just like, that. Oh, how nice. Well, what do you know? This is what happens when I sleep. And then you said, you're like, no, I shared your page. I'm like, oh, very cool. So thank you.
Oh,
thank you
you're
so much
welcome
for having me.
Well, you're very talented, and thank you for sharing this with us and letting us be the ones to play it. And Merry Christmas to you. Have a very Merry Christmas.
You too. And enjoy your warm weather, because we're pretty warm right now. It's like 60 degrees here in New York.
That's warm for the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, we just had a snowstorm a week ago. I was in the middle of like 5 inches of snow. Go figure. But
well,
how is it? Is it hard celebrating? I guess you've only celebrated Christmas in the hot weather.
No, actually, it's a little cool, but it's okay. It's different. Santa wears, tropical outfits. All right, Gina.
Bikini.
Well, keep doing your work and keep sharing it with us. And a big we love you and a big Merry Christmas to you.
Love you.
All
too.
right.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
We're going to take a quick little mini break, and we're going to be back with part 2 with Andre Haynes, and this time we're going to go from music to politics. Yes. Hi, I'm Hollywood from Behind the Mask at KLAV 1230 AM. Join us in the blanket drive in support of our homeless and homeless veterans. Come have some fun. Off the Strip Restaurant Bar on Tropicana is offering Bring in a Blanket, Get a Free Drink. This is supported by Robert Kessler of Perfect Climate Systems, Killer Man Sons MC. We also have another participant, Craig Boyle of Bonanza Beverage Company, and Jesse, the lead singer and bassist of the group Microdot, already collecting blankets for us. You can help by dropping off new blankets at any of these locations, and also here at KLAV on Sahara and Rainbow, at the Humana Guidance Center locations in Summerlin and in Henderson, at Finley Toyota on Eastgate Road in Henderson, at Diva Studios in Henderson on Eastern. Show you care, and let's support our homeless veterans. And don't forget to listen in to Hollywood Behind the Mask every Saturday night between 10 and 11 p.m. on the Talk of Las Vegas, KLAV 1230 a.m. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Support our veterans. Bring in a blanket. This is Hollywood. Over and out. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're back here with myself, Hollywood Behind the Mask, live from the Talk of Las Vegas, KLAV 1230 AM. I'm here with Andre Haynes of Endeavor Media Group, talking about his life and careers. And if you'd like to call and chat, the numbers are 702-731-1230 or 866-820-5528. You can also catch us on KLAV1230am.com. So, Andre, welcome back. I love that song by Gina, by the way. It's lovely. She's
so cool.
Awesome. Now she's all amped. She's going to be up all night. See, I can get people to stay up late. How did you, so tell me, how did you end up segueing from music to politics?
You know what?
And what interested you?
I've always had an interest in politics and the way it works. Like a lot of people, years ago, I wanted to run. But then I realized that by being involved in a capacity of helping to manage campaigns and be a consultant, I could have more of an impact. So years ago when I wanted to get involved, of course, I read everything I could find online. I started attending meetings, started talking to people. I had a great friend and close to me like a blood brother, Steve Sanson.
We know Steve.
He took me under his
Hi,
wing.
Steve.
He took me under his wing almost 2 years ago. And we never looked back. He taught me a lot.
That's about the time you formed Endeavor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, because you know what? Everyone has to have a mentor. Everyone has to have someone to show them the ropes. It's very hard to walk into something brand new by yourself and not know the landscape.
Now, what were your political influences growing up?
You know what? I didn't have any. To be completely honest with you, I
that's
didn't.
funny.
I knew that my family were Democrats, like most minorities are. But that's not really something we talked about, in my household. Considering
what you do now, it's funny that you didn't you weren't that versed, I would say, on it, right? Oh. Now, how are you influenced as far as the political parties? How did you decide what you?
You know what? For a while, I was a registered independent, and then one day I did a comparison of all the parties as far as the issues, and the party I had the most in common with was the Republican Party. So I'm a registered Republican. You're a registered Republican. Okay, you can leave now. No, I'm kidding.
No, we have no discriminations here. We're a mix of everything. As a matter of fact, I had Brett Bajunas and Steve on a show. Yeah, and they get along great. So no, it's how do you feel? How did you go about educating yourself to be able to get into politics and be knowledgeable about what's going on?
You know what? I studied what's going on right now as far as the issues and the incumbents in office. And then, of course, I studied the founding of this great country we lived in. I look for the symmetry, as far as what mattered, what didn't, how do people feel. I looked at my own life and, some of the challenges and issues that I've had. And, I thought about what areas of law or government, impact these things.
Now, what was your main reason for politics? Why politics for music?
I just loved it. Like music, it's a natural high, but this time you're able to positively impact people's lives.
Who are some of your politicians that you really admire? Or what type of politicians? We don't have to name names.
Yeah.
What type of politicians? I know it's tricky.
You know
here.
what?
Gave you a trick question.
Actually, you know what? The politicians at all levels, from Senate to Congress to City Council, Commission, the judges, especially the judges and the criminal judges and the family judges, because they have such a hard job. And I mean, could you imagine sitting 8 hours a day listening to criminal cases, trying to decide who's telling the truth and who's not, or sitting through family cases where you're dealing with guardianship or child custody or divorce? That's hard. And to still have a positive outlook on society and people, and then you have to go release that stuff somewhere.
What do you think is the general? You were saying something about the way people see politicians. That's what my whole thing is about: perception and projection.
You know what? In the beginning, myself, like I think most people, I thought politicians were bad, like used car salesmen. But that's not the truth. At least not here in Clark County, Nevada. I can't speak for
when you
other
get
states.
to know them. What are they really like?
You know what? They're people who really care about the community, serving them. They care about their families. They care about being fair and upright, and that's who they are. They have no ill motives, or anything like that. And it's comforting, and it gave me peace of mind to know that there's a good amount of people like that out there, and I've been fortunate enough to meet them and work with them.
Now, you produce events and you write articles for politics
Yes.
and consulting, and what else do you do with them?
Speech writing, prepare them for media interviews. I help plan their fundraisers that they do. So kind of all the aspects involved with promoting them and, their issues that they stand on, helping them reach the voters and get their message out there.
Now, I saw some photos of you and some that I put up, and you actually you were with Councilman Barron.
Isaac Barone.
Isaac Barone, the first Hispanic councilman in North Las Vegas. History.
You know what? And that was great. Whenever you could be with the person who did something first.
That's very multicultural.
Positive. Yeah, it's cool, because even though, I'm not the only person or the main person who took responsibility for his campaign. I wasn't involved, but to know someone who lived in the city, and then they get elected and they're the first, in their race and their culture, and they're doing something great. That's special. That's wonderful.
What are some of the main issues that you deal with in working with the politicians, or subject matters that you work together with them in?
Education, employment, business.
How do you feel about the education here in Nevada?
You know what? It can be improved, like everything can. But we have some great trustees, superintendent, teachers. I mean, even my young son, he's 4, and I'm happy. He was diagnosed with autism last year, and I got him involved with the school system and early intervention, and he's getting different types of therapy, and he's made a complete 180. My daughter has had a great experience. She's now at Palo Verde High School, so I'm happy. I love it.
Now, give us a good example of someone that made it. We were talking about being in backgrounds like growing up in the hood, and you brought somebody up that was quite interesting. Who's now?
I'm not going to say his nickname. I'll be formal. Judge Mathis, who I met a few years ago. He was he did prison time and jail time. I don't remember the charges.
Yeah. And
I doubt that they were felonies, but for many years in his young adulthood, he got in trouble with the law, and to turn it around and not only become a judge, but to have one of the best or the top judge shows out there. I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have?
So I mean, that goes to show anything is possible.
Anything is possible, and it's never too late to change and get into a career. It's all about what you want and how hard you work at it and how much you pursue it. Determination.
I mean, look at President Reagan. Look at Governor Schwarzenegger. Movie stars. They came from entertainment. And then look at Governor Jesse Ventura. Mm-hmm. Who was a wrestler.
Yeah.
And then became governor and held other seats. Jerry Springer. He was like a senator or an assemblyman, something like that, before he did his TV. So it's cool. It goes to show that no matter how checkered your past is, or no matter how far in the other end of the spectrum your lifestyle, your business background may be, is something you could do. All you have to do is just care.
Now, Andre, tell us where people can find you and people can contact you. And you're big on working veterans causes as well.
Yes.
I know you work a lot with Steve on a lot of that.
Right,
Is there anything upcoming that you guys have next?
You know what? I'd love for everybody to come out and support the second annual Veterans in Politics Ball and Gala. It's on Saturday, February 15th at the Mount Charleston Lodge. Tickets are on sale. They could go to veteransinpolitics.org and purchase tickets. But Veterans in Politics is a great super group. They tackle the issues that everybody shies away from. They really fight for the rights of veterans and for good politicians,
for clean politics.
Right. And it's close to my heart because my his brother was a veteran, and when he came back from Nam, he dealt with PTSD, and I know a few other people. So it's close to the chest.
So you have family from the military as well.
Yes,
you have a military background.
Yes,
that's great. That's great. Now, where else can people find you?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. The best place online, emgnv.com. E for Endeavor, M for Media, G for Group, NV for Nevada.com, and all my social media is the same, EMGNV.
Well, thank you, Andre. It has been
so
wonderful. Andre Haynes of Endeavor Media Group, thank you for being on my show. It's been such a pleasure to meet you and get to know you. And congratulations to Gina Cotillo. Look for her new single, In Time. Be on the lookout for her music. Check out her website at ginacotillo.com. If you'd like to share your thoughts on the show with me, email me at hollywoodbehindthemask@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter at HollywoodBTM, on my website at HollywoodBTMradio.com. And now I leave you with some homilies from my late mentor and World War II veteran Ivan Markota. Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going. One of the most significant things to give away is kindness. It is usually returned. Life is a journey. Enjoy the trip. And I'll be back next Saturday night from 10 to 11 here on KLAV, 12:30 a.m. on Hollywood Behind the Mask. Until then, Merry Christmas. Live, love, laugh. This is Hollywood. Over and out.